She never imagined her life could change in a single night, but fate has a cruel way of rewriting destinies without asking permission. Aliyah stood silently in the corner of the hospital room, her fingers clenched inside the sleeves of a borrowed white dress, listening as doctors spoke in hushed, professional tones about a man who lay motionless on the bed. That man, Adrian Malik, was supposed to be her sister's husband. Rich, powerful, admired by society, and now, trapped in a coma after a near-fatal accident just 1 week before the wedding. Her sister Zara had collapsed the moment she saw him like this, refusing to even step into the hospital again, declaring between sobs that she couldn't marry a man who might never wake up. But contracts had already been signed, families had merged finances, and the Malik family, cold, calculating, and terrified of scandal, refused to let their name become a public tragedy. That's when all eyes turned to Aliyah, the quiet younger sister who had always lived in Zara's shadow. "You'll marry him," her father said flatly, not as a request but a command. "It's only on paper. You owe this family." And just like that, love, choice, and freedom were stripped away, replaced by duty and sacrifice. The wedding took place inside the hospital chapel, no guests, no music, no smiles. Aliyah signed her name with trembling hands while Adrian lay unconscious, machines breathing for him, his chest rising and falling like a cruel reminder of the life he still clung to. She whispered vows no one heard, promising loyalty to a man who couldn't even open his eyes. From that day on, she was his wife in name, yet completely alone. The Malik mansion became her prison, vast halls, cold marble floors, and servants who watched her every move as if she were an intruder who didn't belong. Adrian's mother barely acknowledged her presence, making it clear she was only a replacement, a temporary solution until fate decided otherwise. Every night, Aliyah returned to the hospital, sitting beside Adrian's bed, talking to him about things he couldn't hear, her fears, her regrets, the dreams she never got to chase. She told him how she was forced into this marriage, how she never wanted his money or his name, how all she wanted was a simple, peaceful life. And strangely, in those quiet moments, her heart softened. She noticed the warmth of his hand, the calmness of his face, and she wondered what kind of man he had been before the accident. Weeks passed, then months. Everyone around her slowly gave up hope. Doctors spoke of permanent damage, lawyers whispered about inheritance, and the Malik family began treating Adrian as if he were already gone. But Aliyah didn't stop visiting. She read to him, played soft music, and spoke to him every single day, even when nurses looked at her with pity. And then, one night, something unbelievable happened. As she stood to leave, exhausted and heartbroken, she felt a faint pressure around her fingers. She froze. Slowly, painfully slowly, Adrian's hand tightened around hers. Her breath caught as she leaned closer, tears blurring her vision. His eyelids fluttered, and for the first time in months, he opened his eyes, confused, weak, but alive. The doctors called it a miracle. The Malik family called it luck. But Adrian called it her. When he could finally speak days later, the first word he whispered was Aliyah. Recovery was slow, but Adrian's mind was sharp. As strength returned to his body, truth returned to his memory. He learned everything: the forced marriage, Zara's disappearance, the family's greed. And instead of anger, he felt shame. One evening, he asked Aliyah to sit beside him and said words she never expected to hear. "You were never meant to suffer because of me. I was engaged to your sister, not you. You're free." But Aliyah didn't answer immediately. Somewhere along the way, her sacrifice had turned into something deeper. She had seen Adrian at his weakest, loved him when he had nothing to offer, not even awareness. And that love changed everything. When the Malik family tried to control him again, Adrian stood up, literally and figuratively, cutting off those who treated Aliyah like a pawn. He tore up contracts, exposed their manipulation, and publicly declared that Aliyah was not a replacement, but the woman who saved his life. Zara returned, full of regret, but the choice was no longer hers to make. Adrian chose Aliyah, not out of obligation, but out of love. In the end, the marriage that began as a cruel punishment became a powerful love story no one saw coming. Aliyah was no longer the forgotten sister or the forced bride. She became the woman who proved that patience, loyalty, and quiet strength can rewrite even the darkest fate. And Adrian, once a man defined by wealth and status, learned that true richness lies in the heart that never gives up. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because more emotional, powerful, and life-changing stories are coming your way. Your support helps us bring these unforgettable stories to life, so hit subscribe and stay with us for the next unbelievable chapter. Red Heart.